Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our monthly Sangoma Reseller webinar. This is Brian Hyrek, and I am here with my brother-in-arms, Mark Carson from Sangoma. For those of you who are joining for the first time or are not familiar with VoIP supply as a whole, VoIP supply was one of the first into the open SIP solution providers world. Since 2002, we have developed a customer base of over 125,000 customers worldwide. Some of the benefits of being a partner with VoIP Supply is the VoIP rental program. VoIP Supply does have device as a service, so you can help your customers save that capital expenditure upfront for all of their implementations. Hardware and provisioning. VoIP Supply actually does have over 60 manufacturers of hardware that we have in our catalog with many products for any solution that you can come up to. VoIP Supply, we really do pride ourselves on being a solutions provider, not just shipping brown boxes or widgets as many do. We do have a marketplace that includes Sangoma, where we do offer a variety of cloud hosting services and SIP trunks that you can resell at industry-leading rates and discounts for your end users as well. You do get an advantage there. We also do, if you're in a scenario where you are walking into a site where they have some older Cisco or Polycom or dare I say Yale-Link phones, VoIP Supply can purchase those units and offer you either cashback or store credit for you or directly to your end customer as well. On the flip side of that, we also do refurbish equipment and sell reconditioned equipment as well. For those of you whom were a part of our previous webinar, thank you very much for joining again. We do just want to remind you of the spring promotion that is going on. You can get up to 4 times MRR on 36 months contracts, which is really one of the most competitive, even in the variety of service providers that VoIP Supply has, one of the most competitive offerings that I've seen from any provider. So really stay on that. It's a great way to earn, frankly, a heck ton of money. So contact me or Mark Carson at the end where we can provide you further intel and help you to land those deals to earn that MRR as well. We're happy to provide and get engineers on the line, anything you need to win those deals and help you do the same. To sign up to be a Sangoma reseller, we do have a page on our website, or fast track to that, contact myself. I'll do all the legwork for you. Myself, Brian Hyrek at VoIP Supply, I'll get you all signed up for the Sangoma Reseller program. I'll introduce you to Mark Carson and the team at Sangoma. We'll get you signed up for all the training that you need, make sure your discounts are right-sized for the opportunities that you have, and really help you have an enjoyable experience teaming up with VoIP Supply and Sangoma. It's really important to us to help you gain solid traction. So to kind of do some white gloving along the way is something that Mark and I pride ourselves on doing and are really ecstatic to do so. So with that in mind, speaking of Mark Carson, I will go ahead and pass the torch to you, Mark, and we'll continue this week's webinar.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Brian. Very nice of you to get things rolling. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today on the webinar. We appreciate your time because I know it's difficult to find time to free yourselves up. So I am Mark Carson with Sangoma Technologies, and I work very closely with the folks at VoIP Supply to make sure that we do all the right things for the right needs for you and your customers. So without further ado, we'll take a look at our contents here. We're just going to quickly touch on a Sangoma Tech Award that Sangoma received recently. We're going to touch on a couple of new products. We're also going to touch on just a little bit on our marketing resources that we have available for you, and also an additional SPIF program that we're offering, and then we'll have a Q&A when we're finished with the webinar. So basically, what this is an award that we just received very recently, and it is not one of those typical tech awards that you get from, say, a trade show that you go to where everybody wins an award. It's kind of like a participation trophy if you're on a soccer team or something. This is actually an award that comes to us from the investment groups up in Canada. Sangoma's stock is traded publicly on the Canadian exchange. You can be an investor and invest in it. And basically what this says to you is a couple of things. Number one, we have an excellent set of products, and we have a very, our stock is priced at a very comfortable level, so it's a good investment for you to buy into. So if you're investors, you might want to look into it, check out our statistics. The company's been in business for a long time and what have you. But it also adds to the fact that, you know, our technology is good. So we do in fact have technology that people are desiring and going after, and therefore it makes our stock even that much more important to be looking at. So we just wanted to share that with you because I think it's a pretty important piece. It shows that we're a mover and a shaker in the industry. So what do we get from Sangoma Technologies? Well, I think if you're on this call, you probably already know most of what we do, but just if you're new to us, just a real quick rundown. We do PBX systems. We provide unified communications features, which everybody's looking for these days. We also make IP phones, mobile and desktop client software, connectivity hardware and software. So if you have customers that are still using PRI lines or POTS lines, we have connectivity for that. If you need session border controllers, we have that as well. Network connection, we offer SIP trunking, which you as Sangoma resellers can sell and make a monthly commission off of. We're one single vendor. So if you sell all of our solutions to your customer, when you have a problem or your customer has a problem with the solution, you only have one place to go. So instead of having to you know, go to 5 or 6 different people to try to get an answer as to why something isn't working right, you've got basically one throat to choke. So we offer premise equipment as well as cloud-based equipment, so you've got everything that you need to keep your customers happy and connected in this crazy world that we live in. So phone systems and unified communication, tight integration between our SIP phones. Our SIP phones are designed specifically to work on our product as opposed to being standard generic SIP phones, which most of the rest of the products out there are. Our phones have a stronger feature set with PBExact and Free PBX. They also, again, having one source, the phone system, the phones, this monthly service, all from one vendor, makes things a whole lot easier for you to sell it as a solution, as well as maintain it as you move forward. Again, I mentioned this already, PSTN telephony interfaces, we offer those, basically VoIP gateways. We integrate with several of the CRMs that are out there. We try to pick the ones that seem to be the most popular. Sugar CRM and Sweet CRM are both open source. Salesforce.com is obviously the big guy out there in the cloud, Zoho and ConnectWise. And then we also have a generic integration that you can use, so you might be able to get it to work with other CRM solutions if you need to. We support over 300 different endpoints and 20 plus manufacturers, although there are some manufacturers that have certain models out that are not selections in our endpoint management, and that is strictly because that manufacturer has decided not to move forward with any kind of engineering to get it to work on our product. And so we We just support what we have in there, and any of the new stuff that comes out, some of them are coming into the product and some of them are not. So when you're looking at different endpoints and you want to figure out what's going to work best for your solution, certainly give Brian or myself a call, and we can hash it out and make sure that you can get what you need out of the phones that you're using. We also provide click-to-call and screen pops with our Zulu modules, and then we have additional options of call center, hospitality, as well as high availability. High availability has been a pretty popular solution lately. I don't know why all of a sudden people are interested in it, but it certainly is good for you and good for me because they end up having to buy twice as much phone equipment, at least in the back office. So it's a good deal for both of us. So now just real quickly, I want to talk about the System 1200. We used to have a System 1000, and the components that were in it started to become older. It's crazy with technology. You design something today, and 8 months later, the components are already kind of considered aged. So that product got replaced with a new box. That's the System 1200. So instead of having 1,000 seats on it, it's got 1,200 seats on it, and it supports up to 350 simultaneous calls. So this is a pretty good high-end box for big-sized users. Obviously, if you've got 5 phones and 5 lines, you're not going to use this box. But if you want to use this box, I certainly would encourage you to go ahead and buy it because I am in sales. So it offers redundant power supplies built right into the box. It has dual hard drives or solid-state drives that are set up in a RAID configuration. It's ideal for call centers, enterprise deployments, anybody who's large. You can put the high availability on here as well. You can put the call center on here. I think we mentioned that already. So it's offered both as the free PBX and as a PBExact system. We typically recommend to our resellers that they sell the PBExact because the total cost of ownership of PBExact, depending on the feature modules that you're using and have in the system, can typically be quite a bit more favorable to the customer over, say, a 3 to 5 year period. Typically the lifespan of a server or an appliance. This replaces the free PBX and PBExact 1000, and it's the same price as the PBExact 1000. So you're actually getting 200 more user capability system for the same dollar. So bigger, stronger box for the same price. So there are brochures available on this. You can either get them from me or from Brian, and then we also have them on our website as well. So now we're going to talk about phones real quickly. Again, we do manufacture our own phones. And, I'm sorry about that popping up in the corner here from my, I should have shut off my Slack that we use here for inter-office memo, so that keeps popping up there, and I don't seem to have access to it, so to shut it off. So if you see anything that you shouldn't be seeing, just pretend you didn't see it. Anyways, so moving forward, we have the telephones that Sangoma has manufactured for about the last 3 years, the S-series phones. But we also, because of our purchase of Digium, we have picked up a series of phones from the Digium folks. And those are all available to you. They all work on SwitchVox, they all work on PBExact, and they all work on free PBX. And I got to take that back. The Sangoma phones I don't think work on SwitchVox, just the Digium phones do. So if you've got a customer that has Digium phones and you want to switch their SwitchVox out for a PBExact or something along those lines, you can reuse the phones. If you've got a customer who just likes the style of those phones better than the S-series phones, you have availability to those as well. Obviously, the Digium phones are designed specifically to work with SwitchVox, and the Sangoma phones are designed to work specifically with PBExact and free PBX, but you can use the SwitchVox phones, or the Digium phones rather, on the PBExact and the free PBX. The S-series phones, There is one new one that's coming out very shortly. We're going to touch on that in a moment. We offer decked wireless handsets. They're tremendous. I don't know if you've ever used deck technology, but anybody who needs a cordless phone in their office, you get tremendous range, very long battery life. You can use a handset that's been charging overnight. You can use that all day. Even if you're on the phone 8 hours, 10 hours a day, you can still get about 10 to 16 hours of talk time on it, and I think like 180 hours of standby time. So if you leave the phone not in the charger for 2 or 3 days, you're still going to have a significant amount of battery life left and available. And the audio quality is tremendous. It runs at a different frequency range than Wi-Fi phones do. It runs at 1.9 gigahertz. And because of that, there's not a lot of traffic in that frequency range, so you're not competing with the Wi-Fi network or microwave ovens or overhead fluorescent lights or any of that stuff that can affect the 2.4 gigahertz range. The DECT phones are designed, again, just like our S-Series phones, they're designed specifically to go on Sangoma's PBExact and FreePBX systems. They are in Endpoint Manager as well. And as I said, they work very well. I use one in my office for when I have to get up and move around and do things. You know, sometimes you can't be completely sedentary all the time, right? So we also offer Zulu Desktop and Zulu Mobile. Zulu Mobile is actually still in beta. It should be out in the very near future, probably within the next 2 weeks to a month. I use the mobile client on my iOS phone, and it works great. It's just a very nice way to keep using the company's phone lines instead of using my own personal cell phone line. And when I make telephone calls to people, I can, in fact, utilize that technology as opposed to using my cell phone and either running up my plan or basically giving out my personal cell phone number, which I don't necessarily have to do now. The clients offer presence, a team chat feature. The team chat works basically within the chat section of the Zulu client. It doesn't chat with other products. It allows file transfer, click to call, screen pops. There's a lot of stuff. Some of these things, the screen pops and the click to call are the desktop client features. They are not part of mobile client, although someday they might be, but I think the screen on a mobile phone is too small to be using screen pops and click to call buttons, but we'll see. The engineers just keep coming up with more and more cool ideas, so things are rolling along. It's included with all PBExact systems, so if you have a PBExact system or your customer does, they can use mobile desktop Zulu desktop and Zulu mobile client, and it doesn't cost them any more money. They've already got a license in there for it. If they use FreePBX, there is a license that has to be purchased, and it is an annual license. It is not a 25-year license. Zulu is sold by the year. And what will happen is if you don't repurchase at the end of the year, the module will stop functioning, and your mobile clients will not work anymore. This is our new phone that we have coming out. We had a model 205, which was a single line SIP phone. It was a very good phone. We sold lots of them. It's very value priced. But we, again, decided we needed to improve the components in the phone, so we are releasing the version 206. The price point is the same as the 205, $59 MSRP. And what we have added to this phone is a couple of things. Number one, it allows for 2 SIP clients to be programmed into it, so you can actually do a little bit more with it than just a single line phone. It's still just a 10100 megabit Ethernet port, but that's usually pretty good for most lower end phones. It does provide 5-way conferencing ad hoc right on the phone. And it has a new processor chip in it, and the new processor chip is what supports the Opus codec. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Opus codec, but it's very similar to the HD codec, the G.722 codec. That's the HD voice. I believe that's a term from Polycom. a marketing term. But it's basically super high definition call connection, and it uses less bandwidth than G.722 does. So Opus is kind of the future we're thinking, where instead of using like 729, if you've got bandwidth issues, you might just use the Opus codec because it actually uses less bandwidth than G711, which is the standard codec. That's the standard old-fashioned telecom codec that we've been using for years. So, and again, it does replace the S205, and I believe these will be available February 19th. So that's about 6 days from now. So I guess next Monday you can start ordering. We're ready to roll. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to look at here is something that's in the partner portal. And if you're a Sangoma reseller or just a Sangoma user, you can have, or you already do have, a portal account. So you can log into this portal account, and one of the menu choices is marketing. And in the marketing area, we have a section called Marketing Resources, and that's over here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but here's the Marketing tab, and here's the Marketing Resources. So over here are all the different folders that have all the different marketing materials that we have: banners, case studies, data sheets, logos. If you're a Sangoma reseller, you can download our logos and put them on your website. This is where you'd get them. Product photos. You know, if you're putting together a nice presentation for a customer, you might want a nice high-resolution photo of what one of the gateways looks like or something. All those are in here. You can download them and use them as you need. And then there's also some white papers. And there's also some case studies. And the case studies, some of them can be very good. They can be kind of verticals that you might be selling into, like maybe like a school district or a car dealership or a retail store or something, and how they used Sangoma's technology and how it worked for them. So let's see, how are we doing on time here? I think we're moving along pretty well. So what I was going to do here is I was just going to see if I could pop into the portal and see if I can just show you real quickly how to use it, just so you know. So, yep, here we go. I'm logged in. You guys can't see my password there. It's star, 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 star. Oh, I didn't even have the right password in there anyway, so there you go. All right. So update the password. So here I am. I'm logged in as me. If this was you, it would have your name up here. And I am logged in as a Sangoma employee. So because of that, it's not shooting up at the bottom here trying to get me to join the chat session, which is a very useful tool that a lot of our customers use. So over here on the left side of the screen is the marketing section. This is the marketing resources, and here's that same screen that we were looking at from before. Now you'll notice here that there's an asset creation. That's just for me because I'm an employee, so you're not going to see asset creation, but you will see this part that's on the top here. So let's just say I was interested in a brochure on a phone. Let's go ahead and pick the 705 phone. Certifications, data sheets. So here's a data sheet on it. Oh, here's photos. So if I need a photo of the phone, I can go ahead and click on that, and I believe it'll show it to me right here. Yes, there it is. So as you can see, there's a real high definition picture of it that you can download simply by clicking download the file. This preview page works for photos, but it does not work for the data sheets. So if I need the data sheet on this particular phone, let's say I was going to go with the 705 data sheet, it's not going to preview it for me. It's just going to be a downloadable file. I'm going to go ahead and download it, and it's down here at the bottom in my Chrome browser that I'm using, and there is the PDF that you can take, save, copy, print, whatever you want to do with it, stick it into your presentation, email it to your customer, whatever you need to do. So all that stuff is here. It's extremely useful. We have a lot of stuff going back many years. So, you know, we have net border gateways in here, fax station information, free PBX information, Zulu information. So it's all here. 99% of it's here at any rate. If there's something you're looking for and you can't find it, it might be here in the Sangoma corporate section, where there's a brochures section that has certain brochures, like if you need Spanish brochure on product guides or German or what have you. Czech Republic sales. Yeah, there we go. I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing those. So we've got a lot of that information here. It's all available to you. All you have to do is log into the Sangoma portal and you're ready to roll. So that's it for the marketing resources. And if you have any questions on this stuff, I'm pretty sure you can type them in and we'll go over them as we're continuing here at the end of the call. So the last thing that I wanted to cover today is we have another SPIF program running. We have the SPIF program that Brian showed, the green for spring into green, whatever the name of it was. I'm not good with those marketing names. This is another SPIF program that we have that's strictly it's only for you guys that are VoIP supply resellers. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to kickstart a lot of monthly recurring revenue arrangements with customers. So this applies to SIP station sales and it applies to PBExact cloud sales. So basically it's the first 4 of you folks that sign either a 1-year or a 3-year contract. We will, in addition to the SPIF money that you're getting, we'll send you an Amazon gift card for an additional $50. So we're really working here to fill your pockets with money as quick as we can, because that's what we'd like to do here at VoIP Supply in Sangoma. So that's basically everything that I had to talk about today. Thank you for attending, and we can do a quick question and answer session. Do we have any questions that popped up during this at all, Brian, or no?
Yeah, it does actually. So I am looking here. We do have a question regarding the integration of Digium with Sangoma product. The question specifically is, does the Digium mobile client work on Sangoma free PBX or PBExact for that matter?
The answer is no, not at this time, but that doesn't necessarily preclude it from something that could happen somewhere down the road. But right now the answer is no, it'll only work on Switchbox.
Okay. The difference of the S206 and 406, what is the difference that they have over previous models or its predecessors?
Mostly the most important factor for the 206 is it now has 2 SIP registrations instead of 1. The 406 phone and the 206 phone both have, I'm hearing an interesting echo here. I don't know what that's causing that. The 206 and the 406 both have a new processor chip in them that supports the Opus codec, as well as is a newer, processor. So it's basically a hardware inside the skin thing. From a feature standpoint, it's mostly the Opus codec that's the main thing. Also, again, the 206 has two registrations instead of 4, or instead of 1 rather. Excuse me.
Very cool, and thank you so much for addressing that, Mark. We do at VoIP Supply, of course, Opus is popping up more and more as that codec does gain popularity. And then I do have a question about targeting marketing campaigns and specifics regarding that. And for that, please bring that information to myself, Brian Hyrek, as the wonderful marketing team here at VoIP Supply is always happy to work with you to get you exactly the content that you need to do those targeted marketing campaigns. We've had much success building up our resellers and empowering them to win their business, and we're very happy to be healthy to get you that information to allow you to reach out to your targeted markets. And looks like aside from that, that is all the questions that we do have for today. And everyone, again, I would like to thank you for your participation. It's awesome to see the turnout of these. And let us know, too, you know, going forward, if there is a specific direction that you would like us to take these webinars, or specific topics that you think are very important for Mark and I to discuss, or maybe you want to get more granular and have Mark bring on an engineer to discuss a specific topic, we're really open and happy to have that engagement with you and to be on the front lines with you as well. So feel free to reach out to us, team with us, and we really appreciate the participation and the partnerships.
Thanks, everyone, for joining. Have a really great rest of your day.